welcome to Ed 107. By the way, I am Maria Committee Pablo from DepEd PA. So in this video, I will discuss to you the general concepts in statistics and learning inquiry. So are you ready? Let's go! So when we say learning, it is more adequately achieved through research-based inquiry. So when we say research-based inquiry, it makes our academic pursuits scientific and therefore reliable while guarding us against errors. So now let us define what is statistics. Statistics is a scientific discipline. It is a branch of mathematics that deals with the collection, organization, presentation, and interpretation of data, which are the outcomes of learning. So we have here the so-called statistician. He or she is an expert in the successful application of statistical analysis or explanation of data. So we have two general types of statistical analysis. First, descriptive statistics. So it uses methods to summarize a collection of data by describing what was observed using numbers or graphs. Numerical descriptions include mean and deviation for data types such as weights and heights, or frequency and percentage for describing categories such as race and religion. So this is the most useful in communicating the results of an inquiry, particularly experiments or surveys. Second, we have the inferential statistics, also known as predictive statistics. So it uses methods to draw patterns, the collected data, and then make conclusions, predictions, or forecasts about a group. So when you say group, it's also known as the population, or about a process of being studied. So statistics may be further exemplified through a number of relevant characteristics. So now let us discuss the 5 characteristics of a statistics. First, we have the statistical inference. It is inductive, moving from sample to the dimensions of a larger group of a total population. It means from specific to general. Number 2, we have the correlation does not imply causation. So to exemplify this one, two characteristics or two variables of a population may be different but are related. So it does not imply cause and effect, but the two variables are related to each other. So there is a relationship between the variables. Third, representative sampling. So it is necessary to ensure that the inferences and conclusion can be extended from the sample to the overall population. Fourth, we have the misuse of statistics. Misuse of statistics can cause either errors in description or interpretation of data. So errors may be so subtle that only experts can note the errors. So when we say experts, we have the statistician. So when errors are not found, it can also affect the results of your study. And lastly, number 5, results of correctly applied statistical techniques are different to interpret and may need the expertise of those who have intuitive sense to draw significant conclusions. Alright, so now let's move on to the statistical methods. So statistics is useful in the teaching and learning process along with several research-based inquiries. So first, we have the experimental studies. So this inquiry investigates the cause in addition to drawing conclusions on the effect of changes in elements being studied. It means it is an actual experiment study. You are investigating the cause and effect between your variables. Number 2, inferential studies. So this does not involve any experimental group or control group. Instead, data are gathered and the correlations between the interventions or the predictors and the results derived from a single group are investigated. So for example, the correlation between smoking and lung cancer. So a survey may be used to collect observation followed by statistical analysis of data collected. So generally, statistical inquiries observe 5 basic steps. So first step, we have planning the research-based inquiry around size, hypothesis, variability, subject, and etc. Number two, designing the experiment by blocking to reduce error, random assignment for unbiased estimates, and mapping the procedures or the experimental protocol. Third, implementation and analyzing of data. Fourth, further examination of data for secondary analysis. And fifth, the documentation and presentation of results of the study. Alright, so those are the general concepts on statistics and learning inquiry. So the next lesson will be discussed on the next video. Stay tuned. Bye bye.
Good day everyone, I am Aristide Payas and today we are going to tackle about the conceptualization, operationalization, and measurement. Statistics can help clarify abstract ideas such as patriotic love, religious fanaticism, and political patronage. The instructor does not communicate external realities but rather concepts about external realities, which is the process of conceptualization. This involves the use of statistics in outcomes-based teaching and learning. Concept as contracts. There are three classes of phenomena which can be statistically measured. First is direct observables, like color of a dress or heat of fire. Next is indirect observables, which require indirect observations such as the idea of a female indirectly observed through signs of a person's gender. And lastly, mind contracts, such as IQ, are created by educators and can be observed directly and indirectly. To understand their meanings, we can form measurements of this construct to better understand, relate, and make predictions. Next, we have indicators and dimensions. An indicator represents a concept of or variable under study. For example, visiting a home for the aged can indicate human compassion. Using members as indicators, we can determine that girls have a higher average of compassion than boys, indicating a greater level of empathy. Dimensions. Dimensions represent specific aspects of a concept, grouped into group or subgroups, allowing numerical indicators to determine compassion among population respondents. Concepts can become more clarified by a process of clarification called specification. This can also be done by categorization of the ordering or ranking of data. For example, we may categorize answers such as an income in society by way of higher, middle, lower income levels, such as 100,000 to 50,000 and to 10,000 per month. The progression from our vague sense of what a term means to specific measurements can be diagrammed as follows. First is conceptualization, process to specify what we mean. Next, nominal definition, assigned to a term, not the real entity. Next, operational definition, specifies how a concept is measured. And lastly, real definition, better clarified status of a real thing. Levels of measurements. Variables are attributes representing qualities or characteristics and can be represent any of four measurement levels. These are nominal measure, ordinal measure, interval measure, and ratio measure. So first is nominal ratio. Nominal measure describes a variable with distinct attributes like gender, birthplace, or college major, and counts and draws conclusions from the number of individuals. Next is ordinal measure. Describe variables with rank order attributes like socioeconomic status in communities can be ranked along their attributes such as their high, medium, and low economic status. Next, interval measure. Describe rank order variable with equal distance between adjacent attributes like the Fahrenheit temperature scale. And lastly, ratio measure. Measures variable with attributes like age, residence, membership, attendance, divorce, and pet ownership based on a true zero point using nominal, ordinal, and interval quantities. Measurement levels impacts data analysis as quantitative techniques may require ordinal variables. However, measures don't guarantee reliability and assessment tests may need revision due to outdated topics or new trends. Moving on to the next topic, which are indexes, scales, and typologies. Learning inputs may require statistical techniques for understanding complex concepts, like age, using indexes or scale. Index score assess individual attributes, while scale score assign pattern of ideas like civics through action and political governance. Next, scale. Scale assigns score based on civic participation levels, ranging from 10 for public office to 0 for no participation. And lastly, typology. Typology is the classification of observations in terms of attributes on two or more variables. An example is the classification of broadcast. And that would be all. Thank you.